What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 11 of Wrecked Bike Rebuild. Do you know? Hold on, let me show you something. You hear me? Hey, Brian, say something.
Say something.
Yeah? Huh? New microphones. I hope you sons of bitches appreciate it because my God, it's a pain in the ass. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Our goal today. What's our goal, Brian?
Our goal is to make it run.
Yeah. We are going to we are going to try to make this thing run today. We have had multiple episodes getting the frame out, and now we're putting it back in. If you're not familiar, this is Wrecked Bike Rebuild, Patreon-funded motorcycle build series here on YouTube. If you want to be part of the whole thing and potentially be given the motorcycle for $1, check it out. Top link in the description is going to take you to a Patreon page. You can check out all the extra information there. Not going to talk about it here because we have shit to do. Brian is antsy to get this motorcycle started. So we now have to get some gas money before we start, Brian. I'm sorry. You have to hold off just a bit longer. Oh God, you look hilarious. It's great. Guys, this episode is sponsored by Shade Tree. They are the guys that make these cool wooden sunglasses. You can see these, the ones Brian has on back there. If you guys are in the market for sunglasses, then you want them to look unique. They're all polarized. They make them out of wood and titanium. And they're sponsoring this episode, which is fantastic. If you guys want to support a company that supports us to make awesome content for you guys, go check out Shade Tree sunglasses. You can get $5 off by using the code on... Nah, code is TWOWHEELS, just TWOWHEELS, just like the back half of my name. Go check them out, use that coupon code. I'll have a link in the description to make it easy for you. But now we got a motorcycle to build. Let's get started. Okay.
Oh man, that was funny.
Sponsorships aren't fun unless you have fun with them. Okay, we're gonna build a motorcycle now.
So do I get to keep these? Their logo is pretty sweet.
Oh, hold on. We're not in the sponsored bit anymore, but like I do want to show you guys. Check this shit out. These things come in like wooden. See if that one will do the squeak thing. Ah, we squeaked it out. Oh, there you go. They come in wood boxes. They're awesome, man. All right, we're gonna build now.
It's actually bamboo.
Yeah, that's what these are. They're made out of bamboo. All right, guys, we're gonna start on this motorcycle. Brian, what's our first step for stuff?
Oh God, we have a lot of shit to do.
We do.
So we just need to like jump in and get it all done. So
okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Brian's gonna take lead. I'm gonna try to keep you guys updated, and I'm gonna make it look really good. Because that way we're all doing what we do best, other than the me talking thing.
So today I can just work.
Yeah, I think so. I really want to get the bike started today. So okay. If God forbid, I would have to take a step back. So the first thing Brian's gonna be working on are these little secondary air block-offs.
Yes.
Damn right I got that right. So we've got some nuts, we've got the block-off plates, I got them ordered, and these things. So those nuts are a little long, so we're trying to figure out a workaround of what to do with that whole situation.
These bolts are too long.
The ones I got?
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Okay, can we cut them?
You have a hacksaw?
What's a hacksaw?
Then we can't cut them.
Wait, is it the thing with the long blade?
Long skinny blade.
Yeah, there's one right up there. You know how I know that, Brian? Because I bought it to cut wood. I got told real quick.
You have a motherfucking hacksaw.
Boom, bitch.
All right. One of these days, Chase, we're actually going to make this place a like full-blown workshop.
I'm down with that. Well, can we do that after we move? Because if we did that...
Well, I'll tell you what. If you do it correctly, you can break it down and move it wherever you need to break it down and move it to.
Let us know in the comments if you want to see me and Brian garage makeover, and we'll do it. I'm down. I like content, Brian.
Because there are, you may lose a little bit of your sofa space.
The sofa's going to leave. Coming in a couple months, sofa's going to be out of here.
Because there's a few things that you would really like to have in your shop if you're trying to do some of the stuff to the extent that we are working on here.
Yeah.
One of them being like a table vise.
I've been told that a lot.
You know, table vise is nice just to have an extra pair of hands, and if it's mounted solidly, then you can very easily do stuff like I want to do right now, like cut this bolt, which will be very difficult without something to have it locked into.
I'm down.
So I'm just going to make Chase my vise today, and we'll get these bolts cut. That, or would you prefer me to look through some of the hardware we have to see if I can find 4 of the same matching bolts to fit in the hole that we have? Because, you know, it is a very common size bolt that we're dealing with. They just need to be shorter because the holes in the valve cover aren't...
Brian, I just don't know if we have enough bolts.
Enough bolts?
I don't think we have enough to go around, honestly.
All right, well, let me dig through here a little bit before I make you my table vise.
Before I become a table vise, we're gonna look for bolts. Please, Jesus, have these.
We're gonna have to make you a table vise.
Okay. Terrifying. What are the odds that I lose a finger during this?
0.
Awesome.
There'll be no losses of fingers. This might be easier to do on my own. I think we only have to do 4.
Yeah, only 4.
Oh, we got good stuff. I forgot about that.
I think it's a better idea.
I think it is. Let's see how this one fits.
To be fair, I didn't ask because I figured that you had to use some sort of like carefulness to what you were doing.
Yes and no, but we have a tap and die kit, so...
That's what I figured. We could use the tap and die kit after this to make sure
just to make sure it's clean. Yes, we can.
Chase prevailed with a good idea. Good idea. So did that work?
Yes. All right, let me just drop this thing in here and make sure it's a good length. So here's my deal is I would normally have a vise to put it in.
Yeah, because that just makes a lot of sense.
And it takes like 10 strokes of the blade and the bolt gets cut in half, and it's usually very quick, but when you're doing it like this, it's like watching a monkey football. So
that's gonna get bleeped for sure.
So now we're gonna try this with Big Boy's toys.
So the saw worked, it worked fine, but
it's slow.
It's slow. We ain't got time to waste. This is about to be serious.
I can't really see it very well.
What if we put this in between here?
So that's I'm trying to get this to go in something so it doesn't move. Because as soon as I put pressure on it, it's gonna want to move.
What a gimp ass. Yay, we go. Woo! And nothing caught on fire. Look at that. You know, Brian, for safety, we should probably wear some glasses. Killing it.
Okay, that's about right.
Real safety in 3, 2. Oh, Brian, you have to, hold on. Wait, what are we doing?
Oh, you got the shield.
You have to wear the shield for safety. I'm only secondary safety, so. Brian, this is where we're supposed to do some type of public safety announcement or something.
Don't use angle grinders to cut bolts this close to your hands.
Okay, well, there's killing it. I'm just gonna put that a little faster, I think, than the
saw, than the hand saw. Yeah.
Just a wee bit. Is there a strategy for doing the tap and die set for this whole situation? Like when you really just screw over a bolt like that.
Well, I guess the smart thing would have been to put a nut on first.
What do you mean, like put a nut on, then cut at the bottom of the nut, and then screw?
Back the nut off, and the nut will straighten the threads out on the way off.
That is a really good idea.
Kind of made a bit of a lip on this one, so it doesn't want to get started into the tap.
Got it going?
Yeah. Just gotta, it's hard when that first thread is that bad because that's what it's starting off of. But instead of hunting for a nut right now, this is our last one, so. Did I make that cut dramatic enough for you?
I was gonna keep getting close until I felt like I should probably not be this close to this. Son of a...
You did not just do that, did you? Mm-hmm. Did you really just do that?
Dude, there are lines in my finger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Public service announcement number 2.
I'm not sure if I'm going to interrupt your public service announcement with a... Did you see the little tiny shards of fiery red metal flying off?
I did, yeah.
Did you not expect those to be hot?
Okay, do you remember back to a conversation we had when we were playing around with the soldering stuff? And you said something about it cools down so fast. And I think that just continued. Don't touch the metal on the ground. You know what? There's only one way to learn these type of things, Brian.
You're not going to forget that one, that's for sure.
No, my fingers are probably never going to look the same.
I didn't think it would be that fun to watch somebody learn that lesson.
Thanks, Brian.
You're welcome. That was hilarious.
Feeling it?
I can get it out by hand now.
Oh, that's good.
So that's enough of the Loctite out.
Do we need, what kind of Loctite do we need for that, Blue?
We really don't need Loctite for it. That's why I'm like, Kawasaki.
Yeah.
It's like, this is one of those things where if this bolt falls out, no one's gonna get hurt.
And how would it fall out? It would have to traverse gravity.
Well, it would have to back itself out through vibration and pressure.
Oh, yeah.
So, which is doable, but if you torque shit down the right way, then they don't back out.
Yeah.
You know, Loctite is that last bit of safety to, what it does is it fills the spaces in between the ridges of the threads.
So there's no vibration.
So there's no place for it. Yes, exactly. So, you know, and there are certain stuff that you really need to have Loctite on just to be sure, is a safety thing.
Yeah.
But something like that is
pointless.
It's a little excessive.
Brian, do you want to explain to the people what we're doing with the silicone
Sure.
and these guys?
So this is the secondary air pump block-off plate. So we take the factory plates off that have the pipe in them and replace it with a solid block to cover over those air jets for the exhaust system, because we don't need them.
You guys can see this little area right there. Yeah. So they're just going to block that little area.
Just go there and block off that area.
So typically it had a gasket, right? Like a gasket on it with the stock pieces?
If you want to call it a gasket,
yeah.
It's more like a rubber bushing with a small steel reed valve, if you will, in it. And it fills that little square cavity, and it's got a little bit of depth to it. So when you put the cover on, it compresses the rubber from the top and the bottom, and it seals everything off. We don't have those valves anymore. Whoever had the bike before and removed the secondary air system, whatever it was that they used to block theirs off with, they took the valves with them. So we need to seal this to the valve cover to make sure that we're not having any exhaust leakage, or I shouldn't say exhaust leakage, but air leakage, because it'll cause some backfiring and probably some really, really big flames. out of the muffler and stuff like that, which, you know, is fun for some people, but is really not great for the motor. It's just excessive heat.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're trying to expel as much heat as you can and keep the motor at a good running temperature instead of just letting the heat compile. So it's better that we have it running the way that it's supposed to.
Yeah. And that sealant or silicone stuff would act as a little...
Yeah, just a silicone seal in between the valve cover and the block-off plate, just so we don't have any air leaks, and we should be just fine. Probably do the spark plugs first.
Got it.
While we're in here, we'll replace the plugs, and then we'll put the block-off plates on.
We also need the new spark plug sockets.
For next week, we need more grease.
Add it to the board. What type of motorcycle grease does a person with a motorcycle garage need?
Waterproof grease.
That's the only like descriptive waterproof grease. All right, shit, fair enough.
For those of you that are actually watching what I'm doing here,
oh, they'll see
I'm putting a little bit of grease on each spark plug. Just because the material that the spark plug is made out of is different than the material that the cylinder head is made out of. So when you have two unlike metals, they tend to corrode quickly. When you have corrosion on a spark plug, then there's that possibility that it may get stuck in the cylinder head and you could break it trying to take it out. And for any of you out there that have a Ford where they like to break spark plugs off in the cylinder heads, you know how much of a pain it is to have that repair done. There's a lot less room in a motorcycle to be working on stuff like that. So if you break a spark plug off inside the cylinder head, step one for your repair would be to remove everything, including the engine. So a little bit of grease on your threads, not all the way down to the bottom. You want to leave yourself a little bit of space, maybe 3 or 4 threads worth of distance away from the electrode. Obviously, this is going to get hot. So the grease will melt and it'll start to work its way down the threads very slowly. So if you put too much grease down here at the end, you could wind up getting some down here on the electrode, and then your plug's not going to last very long. Most of it will get burnt off in the combustion chamber because it is so hot, but why risk it and have to go as far as removing all this wonderful stuff on top of your engine to replace spark plugs because you put a little bit too much grease on. So lube is your friend, but you must be smart about how you use it. So I'm just gonna go through and replace all the plugs, and then I'm going to torque them all down at the same time instead of working back and forth with a bunch of different tools.
That is a helpful ass tip. So guys, while Brian's working on spark plugs, I am going to be working on getting this little film off of the engine covers, wherever the hell they're called.
Oh, you're not supposed to spray yourself in the face with stuff.
I just like that I'm spraying things with metal shavings all over it, and I literally have glasses next to me, and I'm... Oh, man. One day, Brian. One day I'm going to be a smart boy.
I was going to say, one day you'll get a shard of metal in your eye.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about. Do you realize what I'm doing now? This is the old one. And
really?
I'm sitting here cleaning it out as if I need to clean it and reinstall it. Oh, man.
Maybe it just would have been faster to do it myself.
All right, guys, I'm out. I'm done. Brian's here.
Hey Chase, there's a new cover and a gasket up there on.
Oh no, Brian, no, they're not. They're literally here.
And you're still
I
cleaning.
took it from the table to here, and I was like, hey, before I install the brand new one, I should probably clean the old one that's gonna get thrown out. Oh my sweet God. Do you know how pissed I would have been if I'd have got metal shavings in my eye for doing something that was literally f***ing pointless?
You know, it would have been even better if you would have put the damaged one back on and destroyed the gasket.
Okay, so like you know what? I'm going to be appreciative that we are where we are, and I didn't do anything too far into the realm of just freaking stupid. So I assume I can use the whole silicone thing around this again, right?
You could use the what again, one more?
The silicone around this little spot?
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, hold on, let me point one more thing out in a second here. What I was going to mention here, if you could see this line right here.
Yep.
And then there's one right on the face, one here and one here.
Yeah.
It's where the two halves of engine case come together.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Okay, so that's the upper and lower cases coming together. Even when you're putting a gasket like this on, you just want to put a little tiny bit of silicone sealant over where those two halves come together on the outside as like an extra step of protection.
So like the sealant or the gasket goes just, it fits on top. So I should put the sealant on and then the gasket? Or?
Just a tiny dab there and there.
Gotcha.
And you know, don't have to go crazy. It's gonna seal with the gasket, but it's that extra little step of protection.
Yep. Okay.
So,
cool.
Where's your razor blade? This little pickup is magnetic.
Yeah.
So if you can see on here, there's a little tiny shaving of metal.
Yeah.
So that little shaving of metal is making a magnetic contact to this sensor.
Oh shit.
So when you put this in, this sensor hangs right here real close to this plate is called a reluctor.
Gotcha.
So as this thing spins around and it gets to this open over the magnet,
Yeah.
it tells the ignition system that this is top dead center for cylinder number one, however the timing is set up in the ECU.
Yeah.
So every time that comes around, it starts the firing process.
I see.
So you need to make sure that this pickup is spotless when you put it on.
So you were talking about this little piece of just shaving.
That's it.
Good God.
Something like that could make your bike misfire.
That's insane.
That's all it takes.
Can you guys even see that? I don't even know if it'll focus. Brian's doing these. I'm supposed to record. Oh my God. Brian, I don't appreciate that you assumed I got silicone on this cover.
Is that why you're over there scrubbing it off?
No, I'm just polishing it up to make sure it looks good.
Because I didn't see any smeared black stuff on there when I was just around the other side of the bike a moment ago.
So you can take your little assumptions.
Did you just smear a bunch of black stuff on?
No, but I f***ed up again.
Tell me you put the old cover on.
No, not that bad. But
you didn't even put the gasket on. It's sitting there in front of you, and the job that you're doing is to replace the cover and gasket.
You're right.
Good God, Jace.
Dude, do you see why I'm doing wrecked bike review?
Now I know why the first one took you so long.
Right?
If you kept doing shit like that.
Dude, I did. Oh my gosh.
That's all right. Now that you've caught your mistake, you may want to get all that shit off and clean all the seal that you just put on there off and round two with the gasket and before it starts to dry, because then it's harder to get it off.
All right, guys, so that engine cover is finally on, torqued, siliconed, all
Gasketed.
that. Gasketed, anti-gasketed, regasketed. But you know what? It's all in the name of learning.
And it's a good thing to learn because you put that cover on without a gasket, but you caught it before we put oil in it, and oil started
That's
pouring
true.
all
So
over
you
the
know
place.
what? At least I'm above the guy that would have put it on and then realized it. So I'm like, I'm not a step ahead of him, but like if he was running and tripped and fell forward, that's where I am.
So this is how we fix not putting this cover back on again.
You almost threw that into the mods pile, which I would have probably grabbed later on and be like,
Damn it, we didn't put this on!
Right? It's like, Brian, I can't figure out. I would send you a picture and be like, Brian, I don't know where this goes.
It looks special and fancy. It's got this part on it where it's like been,
yeah, it's like
it's
pre-crashed
ground down for lightning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't remember getting this
I don't remember
one.
buying this. Yeah.
So plugs, block off plate, reluctor cover, gasket, stator cover, gasket.
We can probably just crank this bitch up now.
We got a couple more things to do.
Yeah, just a few more. All right, so guys, now that I got my cover done after spending way too long, Brian got the gaskets on there. Brian, what's our next goal?
All right, so now we need to reroute the throttle cables and put the throttle housing back on.
That's what I was thinking.
Just to get these cables out of the way and that shit squared away. Then once again, we get to take this stupid you piece of plastic back off because we need to rework this rubber insulation mat back into its home.
So it goes in, then the plastic goes on top?
Yes.
Got it.
So when we did this last week, I didn't really want to do it that way, but I kind of pulled it out and untucked it.
Yeah.
So they're nearly impossible to tuck back in without taking that piece off.
I mean, that piece is literally just pop the nipples out of the sides. And,
That's it. Fairly simple. And we'll tuck that in. We'll make some zip tie connections while we're here. And then we can put the air box back on. Once the air box goes back on, we can put the battery in it and cycle the key and see where we're at for power-wise and what's plugged in and what's not plugged in. And
so if that works, that's when we go to put the liquids in, put the radiator on.
Once we get the key turned and all the power to everything, there's obviously still a couple of wires that need to be plugged in before this thing will actually run, but that'll kind of help us work our way to that point.
Got it.
Yeah, once we get everything plugged in and the key cycled and the power cycled, then we can put the exhaust back on, and then we can put the radiator on, hook up the hoses, put some fluids in it, and then lay the gas tank up top.
And cross our baby fingers.
Plug power and fuel lines into the fuel tank. Cycle the key again, make sure that the fuel pump is pumping. Get pressure to the system.
Jesus Christ, Brian. Get just anxiety of like so many things.
You know, when you're dealing with such a complicated machine, there is a lot of stuff to verify before you push the little magic button over there on the right handlebar switch.
No, there's not, because look.
Yeah, but this is the magic button. That little magic button will either make it or break it. Because if you got shit wrong and you hit the button, shit gets broken.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh. You weren't ready to hear that, were you?
No, Brian, don't tell me things like that.
So here,
no.
I'm going to give you a for instance, Chase.
No.
I'm going to add a little of anxiety to your plate.
Brian, I've already ruined enough things today.
So
We just started.
So this fantastic cover that you just put on twice.
Yep.
And that little teeny tiny pickup sensor that you put in there
Yeah.
twice. If you put that on there and it didn't seat where it was supposed to,
Oh God.
and it was off
Yeah.
by a millimeter, that's a lot. But you have a decent amount of play in this particular situation. But let's say it was on there and it was crooked by a millimeter.
Okay.
And the first time you push that button and that little steel reluctor, those teeth came around and hit that plastic sensor and smash it to pieces, because there's more than enough power in the starter motor to turn that little metal reluctor gear and smash that sensor to pieces.
Yeah.
So Are you sure that sensor's in there straight? These are the delicate details that need to be addressed when putting any part on any moving part on a motorcycle engine in place.
Do you guys like the fact that Brian is having this conversation with me now? Like, not when it was out, but like, oh, hey, BT dubs, if you're off by like, I don't know, a millimeter, which is a lot, don't worry, whole thing's just gone.
Well, not the whole thing. You just have to go back in and redo that cover again because you have to replace the sensor.
Well, you know what, Brian? I'm good at taking that cover off now.
But were you good at installing the sensor?
We're going to find out.
Did you feel real confident when it in that everything kind of just slid in place and lined up?
Yeah.
Well, then we should be good.
I mean, there's dowel pins. It can't be.
Just the way that little sensor goes in when you put those bolts in is as soon as you get them to the bottom, it kind of like rocks and sinks into place.
Yeah, I think.
They make it as hard as they possibly can for you to screw shit like that up.
Well, you know what, Brian? I'm here to test it.
We need to see Chase's anxiety meter when I tell him to push the button. Because I'm not going to push it, you are.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh, that's terrible. Okay,
right,
let's do this shit.
Let's get back to it. These wire clamps, the last one that we took off was the old piece.
Yep.
And one of them broke.
Gotcha.
So we happen to have a spare from some of the other spare stuff we had, so I just added one into the other side just to keep all the wiring nice. So when this is up here like this, everything stays where it's supposed to.
I see. Like a wire tidy.
Pretty much.
Cool.
We are going to tie these back off. These were the ones that we were confused about when we were taking everything apart. Okay, need 2 zip ties. Actually, these were the little rubber ties that we had. These.
What the hell are you doing?
Just so the skin gets soft from having the gloves on.
Was that you just appreciating your soft skin?
Well, if I don't rub the loose stuff off, it feels like I have sandpaper on my hands.
Oh, not a good feeling.
And then I transfer all that nasty to whatever it is I'm working on, so I need to rub it off before I can progress, I guess, if you will.
I will. Oh, so that's the little rubber piece that came with the block-off plates.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So the reason why it's important to block this off, if this was on this side of the airbox, it'd be no big deal.
Yeah.
But because it's way back here, it's past the filter.
Gotcha.
So this would be unfiltered air going into the intake.
If you guys are curious, the little block-off plates that I bought came with that little rubber fitting thing.
I'm really concerned about what this little white thing plugs into, just because I don't want to have to take shit back apart to hook something up later. But I really don't see anything right now, so okay, let's get the cable routing. I mean, if we have to back up, we have to back up. You know?
Hey, it hadn't stopped us before, so.
And it never will.
No.
You know, you constantly need to progress, whether you have to take a step back or not. You have to continue forward if you ever want to get anything done. So
Part of the game.
let's get her done.
Let's get her done. Next up on the docket is going to be rerouting the throttle cables. Brian is checking the throttle housing right now. We're going to get that installed, and then we're going to move on after that. Oh, that's how you adjust the little wiggle in it. Oh.
So you don't want it too tight, because if you turn the bars all the way to either the right or the left, if they're too tight, it'll pull on throttle cables, and you'll be leaned over in a parking lot and your bike will be like, "Whoop," and you'll be gone. If you look in the book, the spec is usually 1/4 of an inch of play front to back. I think that's kind of excessive.
Yeah.
I pretty much set them so when the bars are full lock to the right or to the left, there's just the tiniest amount of play left. All right, airbox.
Bum, bum, bum.
It's got a little bit of girth to it.
It does. A little bit more than my brain
Expected.
yeah.
Gonna have to be tightened, but it is gonna have to go on. We have some extra work to do now.
I don't know if I like you saying that, Brian.
These should have came off with the airbox.
The rubber parts, or?
Yeah. So we should have had to undo those clamps,
Oh, okay.
and they should have come off with the airbox. Because if you look, they have a lip in them,
Yeah.
and the lip goes around the edge of the airbox.
Wait, so how would the airbox come off without pulling those off?
Somebody else already had it off,
And didn't put it
and
on.
put it back on and just threw it back together again.
Interesting.
So we need to take that back off now.
Wait, so would somebody upgrade their airbox?
No, but they would have had to take the airbox off to get the secondary air system out of it.
Oh, okay. So this is another one of those situations where the dude that he yanked his shit out,
Yep.
he just kind of
Threw everything back together.
didn't give a shit. Okay, fair enough. If my bike was going to get salvaged and the insurance company,
Wasn't going to pay for
of
this
course you're
or
not
that.
going to give a shit about
Whether
putting
the
stuff.
hardware's tight or not.
Yeah, exactly. Or either in there correctly or anything. This is the maiden voyage of the baby Ratchet. Just so everybody's clear, I'm not trying to give shade to the guy that wrecked the bike and then bike got totaled and all that kind of stuff.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. If I would have put on stuff in my bike that I knew I could rip out quickly, if I knew I was going to get another ZX-10 or sell the stuff, and the insurance company wasn't going to pay for it, I'd do the exact same shit. So I ain't trying to throw shade. I'm just, verbalizing what's happening so that you guys can keep up with what's happening.
So now would be a good time for the air filter because we're going to have to split the airbox to get these in.
Oh, perfect. And the air filter that we're going to use is... I don't really know. I have to look. Hold on.
Start digging, Chase. Start digging.
Shut up, Brian. Luckily, I've only got this one box. Wait, I think... Oh my god, it's literally at the bottom of everything. K&N, because that's everybody has one of these things, right? Alright guys, welcome to Chase's Motorcycle Accessories Unboxing channel. Today, we're unboxing the K&N air filter for a 2017 ZX-10. How exciting. Brian's over here just what? Alright guys, inside... Oh.
Leave it wrap until we're ready to put it in.
Huh? Don't.
And when we're ready to just throw the thing in the airbox, you can unwrap it.
Oh, well, I have to wait. Brian said so.
Tell you what you can do, Chase, is you can grab a Phillips head screwdriver and start taking all the screws out of the airbox.
Oh my god, yes!
Next size bigger Phillips head. For those of you that don't know, there are 5 different size Phillips heads.
I was testing.
The number 2 is the most common.
There's no numbers on here. Are you supposed to just know? Oh wait, there are!
Don't tell me there's no numbers on there.
Yeah, there's these. It's number 2, 4-inch. Mother.
The next most common size is a number 3, which are those really big screws, Phillips head screws. What everybody likes to grab when they grab a Phillips head screwdriver is a number 1 Phillips, which is
Literally what I grabbed.
just small enough to wreck shit and not quite big enough to actually take screws out.
Big enough to wreck shit, not big enough to do anything.
And if you're over there wondering what I'm doing standing on the other side of the motorcycle over here staring at my hands,
That's exactly what he's doing.
these little rubber boots that go onto the throttle body also fit into the bottom of the airbox. Well, the manufacturer likes to put this rubberized. It's almost like rubber cement
Damn.
as a sealer in between this and the airbox. It usually makes it very difficult to pull these out of the bottom of the airbox. This guy somehow managed to do it.
Keep doing your thing, Brian. I'm killing the game over here.
I was speaking to the camera because I'm done doing what I'm doing. I'm waiting on you now.
Damn it.
Shit, this guy definitely made stuff fun for us. Put that top half down, or yeah.
Ooh.
So this air filter to most wouldn't look terrible.
Okay.
But if you actually spread the pleat open, and you can see how yellow it is at the top, and then it fades down to white.
Yep.
All that yellow is engine oil.
Why the hell is there engine oil on
Because when you crash a motorcycle and you lay it on its side, the oil winds up coming back up the crankcase breather and into the airbox. So it's been fed back into the air system and the filter has picked it up. That being said, once you oil these paper style filters, they do much less of a job of filtering the air. Because the paper swells and then the air doesn't go through it, and you wind up starving the motor of air a little bit. So
it's very good that I got an air filter.
It was a very good idea to get an air filter. Usually when you wreck a bike, you always replace the air filter.
Really?
That's just
interesting.
Not something that people think about all the time, but if your bike is laying on the ground and the wheels are in the air spinning, there is now oil inside the airbox.
That's good knowledge, because air filters aren't that expensive.
No, I mean, a Canon air filter is between like 40 and 60 bucks, depending on what it's for and which style of filter you get. An OEM air filter is a couple dollars less, usually, typically. So if you're going to be this far into your bike to not replace air filters, you may as well. Yeah. You're not going to hurt anything by putting an air filter in it. If you don't put one in, you may save yourself a couple dollars, and you may wind up leaving an air filter like this in that will wind up starving your motor for air, and your bike is going to run rich, and then you're going to foul your spark plugs. And now beyond getting to the air filter, you have to go down this far to get the spark plugs out of it.
So domino effect of
So to stop the dominoes, you stand that one domino back up so it doesn't fall over so soon. Yep. And we don't need that anymore. So now we need to clean the out of this airbox. God damn, this thing is disgusting. So this is all stuff that has made it past the air filter.
Holy shit.
And
can you guys see all that shit?
That's all stuff that made it past the air filter and was stuck to... Damn, I'm having trouble with my my motorcycle terms today.
Are you hanging out with me too much, Brian?
You know what? It's just I've been sick and out of work for so long that, not that it's been that long, I've been sick for a week, but I'm just like, everything's gone. Yeah. It leaves so quick. I would just call the thing a doohickey at this point, but I know that's not what it's actually called.
Brian's like, I mean, that's what Chase calls it. So like, I have to add something. So just wiping this is gonna clean it?
Well, we're gonna have to take these out anyway to get those rubber things in.
Gotcha.
So I'm just wiping the really bad stuff off.
I see, just wiping that gunk.
You know.
Oh, I love it. It's like camera sound. Okay, let me just. So those things like clamp in and then the clamps go around. This guy had to freaking just yank those off then.
Yes.
What a pain in the dick.
Now this is one of those times where somebody is probably thinking lube is your friend, but you'd be wrong.
Oh, interesting. Why?
Because you want this seal around the throttle body and the intake boot to be as clean and as tight as you can have it. So now that those are in there, seated all the way down, now we can put the velocity stacks back on after we wipe them out a little bit better.
God, that is such a cool name.
Velocity stack?
Dude, yes. If I was like, if I had like a crime fighting duo, like that's what I would want my name to be. Brian, can I open my filter now?
You can open your filter now.
Okay, guys, we're back at Chase's unboxing. I'm not gonna do it. I wanted to do it.
Which way's it going, Chase? And before you actually throw that thing in there, there was like some stuff hanging off the bottom of it.
Was that not?
Is that the only one? There it is. Lid goes on, hold everything in place.
Do you have to oil these?
This is already oiled.
Pre-oiled. Done. All bolts still in. Okay, so this just kind of.
As long as you put it on in the right direction, it'll fit.
And just switch that around.
That lithium battery should have come charged.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just to let you know, I'm not a fan of putting lithium batteries where there were not lithium batteries prior to.
Okay. Is that because it's not what they put in it? So
here's my situation. We were talking about the charger for that thing earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
How it's different.
Yep.
Well, so is the one that the motorcycle has.
Oh, I see. So guys, just to understand the conversation, this is the battery I bought for the bike, thinking I was doing something good for the bike, but
A lot of people do.
which is okay.
I have seen cases where, now I'm not saying 100% that it's the battery's fault, but a part has failed on the motorcycle, and because it's a different style of battery, it created a lot more damage. In particular, we had a machine that came into the shop that was almost burnt to the ground.
Shit.
And at the heart of the fire was a melted down lithium battery.
That is not a conversation you want to have.
The battery that's in here was most likely a YT9
Oh, okay.
EDS, so it's a little bit smaller.
So does it look like the new battery will fit in there?
It fits in the groove, but like I was saying, my concern is how high it sticks up this way.
So guys, we're trying to figure out where all of the plugs go before we get the gas tank back on top. We've got the airbox connected. There's a couple more cables that don't have homes.
Let's put the battery in. Let's get the key head pipe on. Let's get the radiator on. Let's just keep moving forward.
Yeah, okay.
You know, it'll rear its head when it's time. And
I mean, it's not like we're installing the tank or anything.
Right. We'll address it when it gets there.
All right. So guys, the thing I just showed you, this thing, we have no clue where that's supposed to plug into. And we've been searching for a minute. So what we're going to do is skip that for now, and then we'll come back to it. Ideally, we'll plug other things in and it'll make sense where it goes, or what plugs into it. This is a big moment.
Okay, no fuel, no oil. And there's a check engine light, KDS light. So it's reading.
Okay.
It's reading that there's no fuel tank on it, and it doesn't read any fuel level from the fuel level sensor. It's also reading the KDS light came on. It was
Kawasaki.
it's like diagnostic systems.
Okay.
So it's like a check engine light. So which means that there's obviously some other stuff that's not plugged in yet. We powered the system. It started moving some of the random solenoids on the machine that it tests before firing.
Yeah.
So that's all good. So now we can, I guess the next step would be the head pipe.
All right.
Now this is not going to be the final exhaust system, correct?
No, it's not. Maybe a stupid question, so prepare yourself, but do we have to put the catalytic converter on to crank it up as the test?
Have you ever been to the races?
Yeah.
And you ever hear any of those bikes fire up at
I
the
know
races?
it's probably dumb loud, but it was just a curiosity.
I'm going to have to tell you that my suggestion to you would be to make sure that garage door was open before you push the button.
Okay.
Because the racket that's going to come out of that thing
Note to self.
is going to be fantastic. Just at the length of this pipe and the diameter of it, it will shoot a good 3-4 foot flame out of that thing with no problem. Like all you would have to do would just be to like touch the throttle.
Yeah.
Burp, bang! Burp, bang! I mean, it's going to be...
So you're telling me I should definitely text Heather before we do that?
I mean, it just depends. Okay. Radiator?
I have the radiator. Is this white cable right here what plugs into the one right up there? That one that we couldn't figure out?
Yes. I think it is.
Well, damn. There you go.
Well, that really sucks because it's going to be really f***ing hard to get to it now.
Well, at least we know what that cable is now.
Yes. We need to figure something out here.
How about this? Zip tie chain, poke it all the way through to here, zip it in the end, and then pull it all the way through.
It might work.
Holy shit. Look at that. That's pretty cool.
Now, you can tell this nipple kind of seems like it's not pointing the right way.
Yeah.
Because it's not.
Why's that?
Either because we bent it taking it off, or it was bent during the crash, or whatever the case may be. Never a good idea to try and rebend these. But we're gonna right now.
Oh, didn't expect that sentence to go there, but okay.
So you kind of just want to very, very gently aim that where you want it to be. And if it went clink, then you're buying a new radiator.
I love how your sentence went. Never do something.
Like this, watch.
Also, we're gonna do that something right now.
Okay. Tight, tight. On. Radiator's on.
There's this little dude.
This is the overflow hose, which is just floating around somewhere, kind of hooks on here.
One of those guys back there, okay.
Let's worry about that later.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Did we already put the new oil filter on, or did we put the old one back on again?
We have not put the new one on yet.
So if we're gonna put oil in this thing, we may want to put the new oil filter on.
There's this pretty baby right here, and this is our liquids.
I'm pretty sure I put this filter on by hand.
I thought so as well.
Ah, damn. May need a little drain pan because there's probably going to be a little bit of oil that's going to run out of this thing. So do you actually have the proper oil filter wrench for that?
Nope. It's a little cap that goes on top of the oil filter.
Yeah. Okay. So that'll stay like that until I can bring mine here.
Yeah.
And then radiator's on, fans plugged in, radiator hoses are on and tight. Let me slide you back into your little home there, buddy. Head pipe's on, oil filter's on.
All right, so at this point we're weighing our odds, right? Like,
should we bother wasting the time of filling it all with fluids to possibly have to take stuff back off again?
yeah.
So
At this point, if we filled it with fluids, we're obviously going to waste the oil. And
if not waste it, at the very minimum, we're going to make a mess trying to save it all. I think we're just going to have to call it a stopping point for now.
okay.
It's almost there. We're so close.
Yeah.
But it's better to be patient and get it done right than to rush it and get something wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get the bike cranked up today, but I also don't want to do something stupid just to get it cranked up. You know what I mean?
Like we've already skipped some steps that are going to cost us some time.
Yeah.
Because we're definitely going to have to take some shit back off again.
Especially to get those hoses routed. And
Well, I mean, that hose, we could probably fish that hose, but we forgot about the clutch cable.
yeah. And we even have to get the shifter and all that kind of stuff plugged in and all.
And it'll run without that, but it would kind of be nice to be able to, like, hey,
Just,
look, it goes through the gears.
yeah,
And you kind
exactly.
of want to have a shifter on to do that, so we kind of...
I mean, we'd still need to put it in, I guess we wouldn't have to put it in neutral because we could, the tires lifted and all.
So clutch cable on, clutch perch on, and then shift linkage on. It doesn't seem like we got a whole lot done, but that's a whole lot of little...
Well, no, I mean,
shit.
I knew today was going to be a pain in the ass type of day where all this little stuff was going to happen, which means the more tiny things happen, the more tiny problems can come up. So,
Right.
So guys, we're not going to crank the bike up today. We are on the side of we would rather do it right than rush it for a video. So unfortunately, that's going to mean cranking the bike up's probably going to have to be next episode. The good news is we are in
We're still getting there.
Yeah, we're in a solid spot, and I feel a lot better about getting the bike cranked up next episode. Guys, that's going to be it for episode 11 of Wreck Bike Rebuild. We're still on the journey of getting the bike cranked up. Hopefully that's going to happen next episode, but no promises. You know, it is what it is, and we're going to do this thing right versus, just rush it so I can have some fancy title for the video. I'm not about that. I'd rather build a better piece of machinery. Brian, what are we going to look at next episode?
We're going to have to look at some very fine details as far as hose routing and cable routing that we need to finish off. We kind of got a little ahead of ourselves and forgot to do a couple of small detail things as we were on our road, excited to try and start this thing. So we may have to take a half a step back again and go back through and verify our work a bit, which shouldn't be too hard from here. I mean, we know everything fits and lines up and plugs in, and there's a couple small pieces of harness that we're still looking for homes for. Nothing too detrimental at this point. So it shouldn't be a ton of work to get to the running point. but we do still have some work to do.
And guys, this is all part of working on a motorcycle, especially a project that is that freaking big. So, you know, you just gotta, don't rush it, take your time and do it the correct way, the best you possibly can. We appreciate you guys watching this video. If you want to check out more about the series, how we fund this whole thing, or how you could potentially get the bike for $1, check out the Patreon link down below. That's how we fund the series. That's the entire community we're building around this build bike, give bike away. Build bike, give bike away, and hopefully teach you guys a ton of stuff about working on your own motorcycles. Chase on Two Wheels, that is Brain, aka Brian. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel if you want to watch us fumble around a motorcycle more. Well, me fumble around a motorcycle and Brian actually progresses forward. We'll see you guys on the next one. Bye. Oh, outro crew, sweet Christ. Can this work? Yeah, it's close enough. All right, Brian, high five. Kind of an exhausted high five.
It was a little exhausting today.
Yeah, today was a long day. We did kind of know that this was going to happen because
we knew from the very beginning that this was going to be a massive, tedious undertaking.
Yeah.
Especially from my perspective, when I walked into it, kind of half torn down already. So that always makes for things to be.
In retrospect, it would have been better to call you day one, but you know what? That wasn't the cards we were dealt. Now we have this awesome relationship we have that hopefully we'll end up with much better motorcycles.
I absolutely know now that for next time, you are not allowed to take shit apart without me here.
All right, guys, so Brian has taken away my ability to work on the bike without him here, at least to start off. All right, we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.